If I sing well, will you give me something to eat? The man in the designer suit chuckled, a cruel, echoing laugh that filled the corridor backstage at the grandest TV studio in Los Angeles. Oh, sweetheart, he said, shaking his head. You're not here to win. You're here to make America laugh. 9-year-old Kesha Williams said nothing at first. She ran her fingers over the broken strings, took a slow breath, and lifted her chin. I understand perfectly, sir, she said, her calm tone making the producer frown. There was something unsettling about how composed this barefoot, dusty child sounded. Only 2 hours earlier, Kesha had been asleep under a store awning when a team of assistants found her singing for spare coins. They thought they'd struck gold. Not the kind that wins trophies, but the kind that makes for great TV ridicule. We'll put her last, the producer, Richard Brennan, had told his crew. After all the real talent, she'll be the comic relief. But Richard had no idea who he was dealing with. Kesha had spent 3 years surviving the streets after losing her grandmother, Dorothy, the only person who had ever believed in her. She had learned to read faces, hear the truth behind words, and sense when people were using her. And this time, she had no intention of bowing her head. Do you have children? Kesha asked suddenly. Richard blinked, caught off guard. 2 girls. Why? No reason, she replied softly, hiding a small, knowing smile. She'd already started to piece together the kind of man he was, and how to turn his arrogance into his undoing. When her name was finally called, Kesha stepped onto the glossy stage of Stars of America, clutching her beaten guitar like it was a crown. Behind her, the other contestants, polished, well-fed, and confident, whispered and laughed. That poor thing thinks she can compete with us? Sneered a blonde girl named Ashley. Her father smirked. Don't worry, honey. They just put her here to make you shine brighter. Kesha heard every word, but instead of anger, a quiet flame burned inside her. She could still hear her grandmother's voice. When the world tries to shrink you, baby, you grow twice as tall. When they try to silence you, sing 3 times louder. Dorothy hadn't just been a church singer, something Kesha discovered in a letter hidden deep in her backpack. She had been one of the first Black women to graduate in music composition from Juilliard in the 1960s, and her most devoted student had grown up to be none other than James Mitchell, the CEO of the very network now trying to humiliate her granddaughter. As fate would have it, James was in the audience that night. When he heard Kesha's name and saw her face, he felt his heart stop. Dorothy's granddaughter? He whispered, barely believing it. He approached her quietly before she went on stage. What are you doing here, child? Showing them what real music sounds like, she said. Let me stop this, he insisted. They plan to... I know, Kesha interrupted. Don't stop them. Record everything, Richard's mocking voice broke the moment. Come on, street girl, it's showtime. Kesha walked into the blinding lights. The crowd murmured, phones ready to record the spectacle. My name is Kesha Dorothy Williams, she said clearly, and I dedicate this song to my grandmother, the one who taught me that music has no class, no color, and no limits. She strummed the first chords. They were pure, beautiful, until Richard gave the signal. The speakers hissed violently, drowning the sound in static. Laughter rippled through the audience. Such a shame, Richard said, fake sympathetically. Guess we'll have to cut her performance short. But Kesha didn't stop. She stepped away from the mic and sang, bare, unamplified, unstoppable. Her voice rose above the chaos, strong and haunting, filling every corner of the auditorium. The hissing was nothing against the storm of sound she unleashed. The laughter died. People stared, some with tears in their eyes as her voice carried amazing grace like a prayer and a battle cry at once. By the time she finished, the room was silent, then exploded in applause. And then James Mitchell walked onto the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, he said, Before you applaud this girl any further, you should know who she really is. He turned toward the cameras. This is Kesha Dorothy Williams, granddaughter of Dorothy Williams, my mentor, and one of the greatest gospel composers this country has ever known. The same child these producers brought here to humiliate. Gasps filled the room. Richard froze in place. It was all recorded, James continued. Every cruel word, every rigged sound, every moment they tried to turn a child into a joke. Richard Brennan, you're fired. The audience roared as security escorted Richard out. The man who once laughed at a hungry girl was now the punchline of his own downfall. The next day, the video of Kesha's performance and the producer's exposure went viral. Within a week, it became one of the most watched moments in TV history. James kept his word. He created the Dorothy Williams Program, a scholarship fund for gifted children from struggling backgrounds. Kesha was its first student, and soon after, its symbol. When she performed at Carnegie Hall a year later, her restored guitar in hand, she said to the audience, "This guitar taught me something. Strength doesn't come from what we own. It comes from what we make out of what's broken." The crowd wept, standing as she played. Years later, Kesha would help hundreds of children rise the same way she did. She often told them, "They tried to make me small, but my voice was bigger than their cruelty." And Richard? He learned the hard way that when you try to humiliate someone who was born to shine, you only end up burning yourself in their light. Because true talent doesn't ask for permission. It simply waits for the right moment to rewrite the rules of the world. Hey friends, this is Shadow Voice. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Your time truly means a lot. This channel is new, and every view, like, and comment makes a huge difference. Shadow Voice is more than just videos. It's a space to relax, reflect, and connect. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe, turn on notifications, and leave a comment. Your support inspires me to create more. Together, we're building something special. Take a moment, breathe, enjoy the music, and remember to stay positive. I'll see you in the next video.